Hello, every beauty. This is another episode of Magic, Mystery, and Medicine, or as Iris and I decided to call it today, Magic, Mystery, and Money. And you're going to find out why in just a few moments. Mm-hmm. This is really fun because this is a totally impromptu interview.
It is.
Iris came over for coffee. And guess what?
Here I am.
Here you are. I want to introduce you to Iris, who is one of our beautiful IEM practitioners, has been a good friend for a long time. Mm-hmm. We've come in and out of each other's lives over the years. Since I started this work, I think. Fernwood?
Yes, it was in Fernwood. Yeah.
It was.
Yeah. And I had just moved to the island. Right. So that would have been 2012. Yeah.
I love it. I love how we come into each other's lives and then away and then come back in.
Absolutely.
And then you come for coffee and here we are.
I know. And here I am.
And here you are. Well, I would really love for Iris to introduce herself to you. And Iris, can you tell us some of what's brought you here to this moment in your life, some about the work that you do, and then we'll dive into what we said we were going to talk about today.
Absolutely. Do I look at the camera?
Yeah, look at the camera.
Okay. She cued me on where I was supposed to look. So
the green light.
So I am Iris Sirianni, and as Megan said, I came into doing this work and working with Megan because when I first moved to the island, I was really a hot mess, and
That's a way to say it.
I know. On the outside, I looked like I had it going on, in terms of my life and my relationships and how I felt about myself and what I was doing. But on the inside, it was a train wreck. And so I started working with Megan professionally. And then as just time went on, I was able to work with you as not professionally as in helping me, but professionally as in learning how to do the healing modalities that you teach. Yes. And so I have now been able to incorporate that, and I've created an amazing business that is growing in ways that I would have never expected it could grow. And it's a beautiful thing.
What do you call it?
I call it, that is a good point.
Yes,
that's a good point. I call it Blissful Soul Holistic Wellness.
I love it.
Yeah,
I love it. And you have a website?
I do not have a website. I do not have a website.
Any web designers out there?
Yes, I do.
Potential client right here.
Not have a website yet.
But you do have a Facebook page.
I do have a Facebook page, yes. Yep. And it is called Blissful Soul Holistic Wellness.
Okay, so like her on Facebook.
Yes.
Stay in touch on Facebook.
Thank you.
Yeah. And you're also in our IEM community, in our public forum.
I am.
Yeah.
I am. And, if no man or no woman is an island, and it is amazing. I used to separate myself from women and thinking that I could do it all myself.
Right.
And being able to be part of a community of women and one man.
Yes, we have one male practitioner in IEM.
Yes,
Men listening, you too can become an IEM practitioner.
Yes, absolutely. And being able to be supported that way, it's really amazing. For you to know that you have this community of people who are really genuinely interested in your success.
Yes.
Is beautiful.
Yes. Thank you for saying that. And
you're welcome.
My desire to create this community of healers comes out of my own experiences of what it was like when I first started doing this work here in Victoria. And while there were people doing this work to some extent, everybody seemed to be very isolated. It really wasn't mainstream enough to be able to say at a party, hey, I do psychic readings, or I'm a psychic healer, or I do energy medicine. These were not words that were used in any kind of familiarity. And when I started to call myself a healer, when people would ask me what I do, and I'd say I'm a healer, I'd get this blank. You're like, what? So you're a doctor?
Yeah.
Not exactly. I'm a metaphysical healer. What's that? There was a lot of Well, there wasn't a lot of information, I guess would be the better way to say it. Now when somebody asks me what I do and I say I'm a healer, they say, oh, okay. Then what kind of healing do you do? You know, just to be able to call ourselves healer with a capital H is something very recent.
I know.
And to have people understand what we mean by that is really, really beautiful.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I love being able to witness people move their way through and stepping into that title.
Absolutely.
Claiming that.
Yeah.
It's one of my life missions. You've heard me say this before. If you think you're a healer, you're a healer.
Exactly.
And the world needs healers, so get your butt out there and
absolutely.
do the work. And if you need to learn how to do the work, and if you need to learn how to feel confident in that, there are lots of amazing programs now being offered, and not just mine. So the Confident Healer is one of mine. Intuitive Energy Massage is the other. There are, so what? Body Talk, Reiki.
What's that new one? They call it
Theta Healing.
That's it.
Yep.
Theta Healing.
Yeah,
yes.
and we've got a beautiful woman on the island who's doing Theta Healing courses.
Yeah.
There's so many.
There's so many different modalities. You know, now.
And I love it, and I love that we can share the space, right? Because truly, I'm coming from a place of collaboration and cooperation, where we support each other and we create community, not just to pat each other's back, but to help all of us to succeed. Because that group energy is so powerful.
It is.
And it lifts us up into a higher vibration.
It does.
When we know we've got that support, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And you know, like when you're out there doing things in the world on your own and knowing that you can, pick up the phone or send a message in the forum and you know, if you're feeling a little bit low vibrationally and lacking the confidence that you have in yourself, you can just reach out and say, you know what, I feel like this, and to know that somebody's there with you and can elevate you again.
That's right.
To your highest potential.
Okay, that's a bit of a plug. Am I holding this right? Okay, this is called Highest Potential. This is a Young Living blend that I've been working with recently. I felt drawn to it in the catalog. I thought I'm going to give it a shot. Seriously, highest potential in a bottle. Do you think it's possible? But the key point here is that while this is an amazing product, there's beautiful oils and it smells incredible, it actually isn't your highest potential. You are your highest potential.
Right.
And this is the beautiful tool that can remind you that that's something that you're aspiring to.
Exactly. Yeah. And the community supports you in reaching your highest potential.
Yeah. Because if you succeed, then I succeed.
That's right.
If you succeed, then Rianne succeeds. If you succeed, Johanna succeeds. If you succeed, Stu succeeds.
That's right.
Right? It brings us all into a space of acknowledgement and recognition and supporting one another. And this brings us to what we were talking about earlier on the sofa when we decided we were going to do this show about value, self-worth, and money.
Yes.
Can we not have that be a dirty word in the healing circles, please?
I know. I agree. And we were having an amazing conversation before we got on this show. And, we didn't know what we were going to talk about. I didn't come here with any preconceived idea that I was even going to be doing this. But then we got talking about a workshop. Can I talk about the workshop that I did?
Yes, please do.
So I did a workshop last weekend. It is called Heal Your Love Wounds. And the workshop starts out by identifying the stories that we carry around with us and how those stories play out in our life, not just in our relationships, but in the cap we place on ourselves everywhere in our life. Because you think it only affects your relationship. It never does. Yeah. It's all tied to your self-worth, your self-esteem, your self-confidence, and what it is. What is your highest potential? And most people are living maybe 30% or less of their potential, right?
So true.
So I thought I would put together this workshop, which happened on Sunday, this past Sunday, and we were talking about the price point on that workshop. And so we got talking about, well, if you break it down, you only got paid $12.50 an hour. So, you can do the math. It was a 4-hour workshop. And it was a great workshop, right? But then we got talking about what is, now you have to remind me how you phrase
Yeah.
this, because it was really significant.
Yeah.
So,
Okay, so we had this aha moment. I've done a lot of work with my clients and my students around their value, and especially students who are going out and having their own business. The biggest question that comes up is, how much do we charge for the work that we do? I'm covered in goosebumps. I've got my goosebumps. Oh my gosh, look at them. This is such an important area.
I agree.
Right?
I agree.
And where I've often come from with this question is, well, how much do you value yourself? And let's look at the breakdown. So $12.50 an hour, would you rather, and be honest, pay Iris $12.50 an hour? That's less than minimum wage for an hour of her beautiful healing services. Or would you rather pay $150 an hour? Which feels better to you? And I mean, step out of any ideas about how much money you have in your wallet, but really, truly, energetically, what feels better? Most people would go to the 150 price point, right?
Yeah.
So we look at it from that perspective. What are your money wounds? What are your self-deserving wounds? What's going on with why you wouldn't step into the value of what you do? And it gets complicated when we talk about healing, because there is this idea of the poor healer, right? The healer who gives away their healings because it's a God-given gift and therefore they shouldn't charge money for it. And some of those other old stories around this work. And I said to Iris, well, wait a second, though. That's only a part of the equation. The other part of the equation is, how much are you willing to stand in your client's investment in themselves and their well-being? Because if I say to a client, and I'm saying this out loud for the first time, this is what's happening in January, a 90-minute session with me is $225. What I'm really saying is, I value my client to the point of $225 for them to invest that in their own well-being. Can you feel the difference in that?
Definitely. It's energetically,
Yeah.
it's way more potent, and a lot of it has to do with perceived value and how much that person, exactly what you said, how much that person believes they are worth, and how much they are going to invest in their own self-worth.
That's right.
And
you think about how many courses you've taken or programs you've taken or healings you've gone to where you've not even thought about it. You've just paid $150 or $175 or $200. Think about going to see a lawyer. This one slays me every time. So divorce lawyers, any divorce lawyers out there? Good on you. $400 an hour?
Yeah, well.
But I paid my lawyer $400 an hour. And I know there's a lot of training that goes into becoming a lawyer, but guess what? There's a lot of training that goes into becoming a healer too. And we were talking about this earlier. You're not going to assume you're not going to pay your plumber.
Exactly.
You're not going to assume that you can not pay your university fees, right? So if you're doing a workshop with somebody, you're investing your learning in their expertise.
Exactly.
That has value.
Yeah.
If I'm coming to see you to get my chakras cleared, well, that's no different than paying my plumber to come and clear out my pipes.
Exactly. Or your electrician to connect that electricity that you, can't see.
Exactly. And yet it's such a struggle. And it's not just the healers, it's the coaches, it's the spiritual counselors. It's really interesting how this is so often the conversation that we have is, what should I charge? What am I worth? But I want you to flip that and ask the question, what is your client worth?
Exactly.
Is your client worth $200 an hour? Then why are you charging them $50?
Yeah, exactly.
That's crazy.
Exactly.
Yeah. And one of the things I teach when we do our intuitive energy massage training, once we get to the conversation about your business and how to run your business, I say, don't discount your services.
Yeah.
Stand in what you're worth.
Yes.
And then value add.
You know what? And that message in and of itself was really powerful because our go-to place all the time, and what you hear in the service-based industry often is, well, why don't you offer a sale? Or, how about a buy one, get one, or something like that. And then you get, for me personally, what I found is that I did run a promo and I discounted my services. And I got to tell you, energetically, it felt yuck. I felt I was giving so much to my client, which was great because I do that whether I'm paid $50 or $150. But energetically, that feeling, I felt disconnected with my own service and what I was charging at that discounted rate, all for the sake of getting the sale, which is not
Yeah.
about getting the sale.
Exactly. And it's really important to remember that this is not retail.
Yes.
You can do a
Yeah.
2-for-1 on a t-shirt. You can discount your sweatshirts and your lotions and whatever else you're selling on your storefront that are material goods.
Yeah.
But service is really invaluable.
Oh my gosh, yes.
In fact, that's I
Yeah.
think that's also why it's really challenging to put a price tag on it.
Yeah,
How do you determine that 90 minutes is worth $200?
that's right.
Right? And it is personal. And this is one of the reasons we do this exercise in the Thriving in Your Intuitive Business workshop. How much is your time worth? What's your hour worth? What's your experience and training worth? What's your lifetime worth?
Right.
And what's interesting is most students go to, well, $150 an hour. Okay, that I can be comfortable in that. All right, what about all your training and everything? Oh, that's worth tens of thousands of dollars.
Yeah.
Okay, what about your lifetime's worth of experiences?
Yeah,
Priceless.
exactly.
Then why are you limiting what you're offering?
Exactly.
Right? I really think there's I think we've hit something here really important
I think we have too.
about how we value our clients.
Yeah.
What
Yeah.
we believe is their worth. I think is reflected in how much we are charging for our services.
I think so too. And I think that we can take it one step further is when we feel our own worth and it becomes easier to say, you know what, you're worth way more than that.
Yeah.
You're worth way more
Yeah.
than $50,
Yeah.
you know?
And one of the questions that often comes up is, well, what about those people who simply can't afford $225 for a session? My answer to that is this. As you are growing and developing your healing practice, you have to feed yourself. You have to feed your family. This is your business. You are making your living doing this work. You need to look after yourself so that you can be there for those people who may not be able to afford your services at the regular price when you have enough security in your business to be able to give back like that.
That's right.
Right? That's the
Yeah.
tithing piece. But we
Yeah.
can't tithe what we don't have. And there's no point in stressing yourself out, worrying that you don't have enough to pay the rent, but feeling good that you gave away 5 free sessions this month.
Yeah, exactly. 'Cause
Right?
5 for your sessions doesn't pay the bill.
Exactly. It doesn't. It doesn't. Or
I found that out.
the other thing you can do if you're building your business and you still really want to give back to the community, then have a volunteer day. Go to a community center. Go to one of the shelters. Like really step into this and say, I'm going to offer intuitive energy massage, or I'm going to offer counseling, I'm going to offer readings to women who've just come out of abusive relationships, for example. And this was going to be my Saturday, and approach the Women in Need Society or approach the battered women's shelters and say, I can do this. Would you be willing to have me come in and offer this at no cost
Right.
to the women who you have
Yeah.
here, or whatever it is that you would want to do?
Yeah.
I would say to make that a special thing that you offer, not something that is a constant, because you will burn out.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
100% you'll burn out.
And then you'll feel out of alignment as well because you're giving all of your services away for free and feeling like you're getting very little back in return. And energetically, there has to be that give and receive.
Yes.
It goes both ways.
Yeah.
And I think quite often what happens is there is a disconnect. So many of us are givers, and sometimes we want to overgive because it makes us feel good, but we have to be in the receiving mode as well.
That's
we can't
right.
be always just the giver.
Exactly.
That was a really hard lesson for me to learn,
Yeah.
Megan. Very, very difficult. And when you're not doing it, when you're energetically out of alignment with the value you place on your client to invest in themselves that way, and I just lost my thought.
That's okay, because it's a new thought we're working with. There's a whole new neural pathwhere being carved out in our brains right now with this piece of the conversation. I haven't heard anyone speak about it like this.
Yeah,
we're onto something really important here, and so I really want all of our healers in our IEM community and in our Megan Edge Healers community to really hear this piece. How much do you value your clients?
Yeah.
Let them really feel how special they are to you.
Yeah.
And part of that is you giving them the opportunity to pay you how do I say this? To pay you for the experience that they have of the work that you do.
Yeah.
So I've always known when it's time to raise my rates, because clients will start giving me more money at the end of a session.
Mm-hmm.
They'll say, you're not charging enough. This was worth this.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely.
Your client knows. So give your client the opportunity to pay you what is a reflection of their experience of the work that you do.
Yeah. Yeah. And you know, the other thought that's coming up around this is that piece of industry standard.
Yeah, can we talk about that for a moment?
Yes, we can. Yes, we can.
Okay.
Do you want to start?
Well, I know that when I first started doing this work, I got online, this was 12 years ago, and looked up in Victoria who was offering card readings, psychic readings, and energy healing, and what were they charging. And I was shocked at how little people were charging. $60 for an hour. And I thought, right out the gate, that's not settling with me. So I thought, I'll charge $80. And I felt really brave. It was like $20 more than anyone else in town is charging, and I'm just starting out. That lasted a week. And in that week, I had 3 people come and see me, and they all gave me $100 and said, I don't want the change. Oh, says I. Okay. Here's the thing about industry standard. You can set it.
I agree.
Why don't you be the one to set the industry standard?
Yeah. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And if you're always looking at what everybody else is charging, you're not really standing in your value. Now, some people are leaders and some people are not leaders. And I think that many of us in the healing world are leaders. We have natural leadership. That's what allows us to stand out in front of people at the Mystic Market or at the Intuitive Arts Festival, or stand up in front of a room full of people and share our message, or do this kind of thing, right? Because we have that leadership in us. Well, if that's true, then let's stand in that and let's set the standard for what this work is worth.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
And we have free will. You can choose to meet us at that level or not. You could even choose to exceed that level if you want to.
Absolutely.
But and this is something I'm gonna put this out there to the world. One of the reasons I'm raising my session rates to $225 in January is to open up more space for the community to be able to raise their rates as well.
Yeah.
Because one of the agreements, it's out of respect, teacher, student, but then now colleague, is that as the originator of the technique, intuitive energy massage that I'm teaching, what's the best way to say this to make it land, or not to, I can't make it land, but for it to land authentically, it's the respect for the teacher to not exceed what the teacher is charging until such time as you feel absolutely confident in doing that.
Exactly.
Or you've got things you can add to it that add value, like extra healing modalities that you've learned, or an essential oil blend that you've created for them, or something like that, so that you're still reflected in your value. You're not keeping yourself small because of some limitation, but you're also respecting and honoring where the teachings have come from.
Exactly. Yeah, I agree.
Does that land?
It does.
Okay.
It lands. Yeah, it's perfect. And anybody in the IEM community is already fully aware of that, and it lands very well in there, right? And I think it's perfectly fine. It works absolutely beautiful for me. So what Megan has done is she's created the space now for me to, and I'm going to say, raise my fees based on the value that I bring to my sessions now, because I actually started low. And there was a lot of fear around starting at Megan's suggested price range.
I know, I get a lot of
pushback on that. It was like
a lot of resistance.
Yeah, exactly. But it doesn't take long before you realize just how valuable your service is, and how valuable, more importantly, how valuable it is to the person that you're serving.
Gosh, I love that piece. I feel it right here in my solar plexus.
Yeah.
I've been searching for the last 12 years for that missing piece in pricing, and I think we have found it today.
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree. And you know what's really funny about that? Some of you watching this might have this like, there's no way. People are, what? Are you crazy? They're not going to charge that. Whether you're in the IEM community or you are doing Reiki or crystal healing or theta healing, whatever your modality is, you know, you might think, there's no way my clients are going to pay that money. And it has been my experience that when you raise your level of acceptance and confidence in your ability to bestow a healing for your client, they are going to rise up to meet you. Yeah. And I just got goosebumps all over.
It's so beautiful.
Yeah.
Because what we're doing is we are raising the vibration for everybody.
Yeah. Yeah. And it has nothing to do with greed.
No.
At all.
No. Can we just leave that at the door?
I know.
Right? Along with those old stories about the starving artist and the starving healer and all. And, you know, I want to say this, that when the brother or the father or the nun or the mother superior, or whoever, I'm speaking in Catholic terms, I think here, for when the religious leader of the community did his or her work, he or she was taken care of. They didn't have need for money because all of their needs were being met by the things that the people would bring to them: food, shelter, clothing, comfort, and acknowledgement and recognition. And it's the same in shamanic communities today still. Yeah. So we can say it's not in God's will for us to earn money because look at this tradition. But let's remember their needs were met and often exceeded. So should ours.
That's right.
Yeah, right? And absolutely. There is enough to go around.
There is.
There is enough to go around.
There is always more than enough.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we both speak to that from those days of not being able to pay the rent and what that feels like. We get that. We understand that. We also stand in a certain amount of privilege for where we live and what our opportunities are, and we recognize that as well. Yep. But here's the thing. There will always be someone for someone.
Absolutely. Yes.
Right?
Yeah, I agree.
There will be a healer for the person who needs that healer most. And it will be a fit.
It will be.
It'll be a fit financially, it'll be a fit energetically, it'll be a fit emotionally.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. You know, and I equate it to as, and this just popped into my head as, you know, you don't stay in grade 1 forever. You evolve. You don't stay in grade 2. You move up. You move up. You move up. Right. And so it is in life and in our healing businesses and the services that we provide.
That's right.
You know.
That's right. And what pops into my head around that is the number of times people have said to me, "Why do I teach? Aren't I just creating my own competition?" And my answer to that has always been the same. No, I'm creating colleagues.
Yeah. Yeah. Definitely.
Right.
Definitely.
Because there are enough wounded people in the world.
There are. And they're still coming.
And they're still coming. And if we ever get to a day where there are not wounded people who need our help, then we'll go and do something else.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly. That's exactly right.
Yeah.
And you know that whole concept about competition, now we're moving kind of away, but the whole concept about competition indicates lack.
Exactly.
You know, and there is more than enough to go around. Look at how many cookbooks there are, right?
Exactly.
You don't have one cookbook for everybody, you know, and there's more than enough healers to heal the planet, and there's more needed every day, you know?
Exactly, yeah. And I think when we build these communities, this is what really supports us to do this work. Absolutely. And this is such beautiful timing, too, for our conversation for what's coming forward. So let's talk a little bit before we shut her down. What's coming up. And I'd like to jump in if I may, because this whole conversation about giving and receiving is exactly what Dr. Pat, my co-host, and I are going to be talking about on the next Playing on the Edge Radio, Radical Change with Ease, next Tuesday, the 11th of December at 11 a.m., 11/11. It's also Dr. Pat's birthday, so perfect timing for giving and receiving. And what we are talking about is being on the edge of radical receiving.
Oh, that is very cool. That's going to be a very cool show.
It is. We spent an hour and a half today on Zoom, her and I, planning this show. There's so much meat in it. It's you got to be there for it. It's going to be really amazing. And it really is delving deeply into why don't we let ourselves receive? And what is it like to give and not have that be received? And what gets triggered in us when we are being asked to receive and we don't want to. So we're going to be talking about all of that on the next show.
Powerful.
Very powerful. And then in the new year, I'm doing a pilot project. There's a lot of P's. Taking my 8 steps to becoming a master manifester into an online program.
Wow.
Yes. We're stepping up.
Wow.
And online. So this is going to be an 8-week program. We're going to dive in each week to each of these steps. These are steps that I've created over the last 10 years. I've been teaching it for a long time, but now we're going online with it.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's fantastic. How exciting.
And we're going to be doing our work. This is not a lightweight thing. This is we're going to be doing our work, looking at all of these things that we've been talking about today.
And
so much more.
What's it called again?
Which one?
The manifester one.
8 steps to becoming a master manifester.
Do you know, even listening to that title just shakes me up on the inside. This might be something I need to do.
You're welcome to come on board. It will, in fact, be very reasonably priced. It's $97 to come in for the 8 weeks.
Wow.
Because it's a pilot project, because it's my first time doing this online. So the teaching will be at the caliber and level that I teach at. The technical side of things, that's where we're going to be figuring out the glitches, and you get to be a part of that.
Wow.
And a part of that first experience of having it be online.
Yeah, count me in.
All right, we've got our first registrant.
Yeah, count me in. That's
awesome.
Fantastic.
Awesome.
Yes.
So details to come on that.
Yeah.
And then I would love for you to share what you're up to, and then again, how people can find you, and then we'll wrap it up.
Great. So coming in the new year, I talked about my Heal Your Love Wounds workshop, which outlines the stories that we drag around with us. And it also goes into a level of detail about your attachment styles, which is really about the psychology of how we attach ourselves emotionally at a very young age and how our needs are met. And it's really quite fascinating work. It's not my exclusive work. It's out there on the internet. I've just harnessed that piece of it and included it into a workshop to gain awareness. So I'm calling it my pilot workshop that I had on Sunday. This past Sunday. I'm going to be relaunching that into a day-long workshop in March 2019. You can also, and there's more details to come, and you can follow me on Facebook right now at Blissful Soul Holistic Wellness. All of my events will be published there. I'm also at the Mystic Market in James Bay on February 9th and 10th. And you can also find me, where else am I going to be? Oh, at the West Shore Wellness Show, February 16th.
And just to put a little plug in, at the Oscars.
Oh, yes, and going to the Oscars. Yes, that is very exciting. So
you'll have to reach out.
Yes,
contact, find out all the details of that excitement.
About that, yeah. So I welcome you to follow me at Blissful Soul Holistic Wellness. That's on Facebook.
Wonderful. Beautiful. Yeah. And you can find me at meganedge.ca. You can find me at Megan Edge Healing on YouTube, Megan Edge Healing on Facebook, Megan Edge Healing on LinkedIn.
Oh,
apparently I'm on Twitter too. Don't try to message me there. I don't know how that works. But it appears that everything I put on LinkedIn goes to Twitter as well.
Oh, yeah. So, Darren takes care of that.
That's right.
Yeah. Oh, I do have a YouTube channel. Now that you mentioned YouTube.
Good. Yes.
I have a YouTube channel.
Excellent.
It's called Iris Sirianni. You can search for me, Iris Sirianni.
And this video will be there.
Yes, it will be. Yeah. Thank you.
Beautiful.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you. Thank you for saying yes.
Yeah.
This is the message we want to leave you with at the very end of this beautiful time we've spent together. When the universe shows up, what are you going to say?
Hell yes.
Hell yes. High five on that.
Yeah.
Thank you, everybody, for being here on Magic, Mystery, and Money Medicine.
Money. Oh, yeah. Money medicine.
Oh, that gives me goosebumps. Love it. All right, everybody. Take care.
Bye. Bye-bye.